Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. This is the fourth part of audio streaming series. We are building audio streaming platform similar to Spotify and YouTube type UI. So far we already set up and created all audio controller. You can see all the audio controller and all the user controller. And now it's time to create routes. So first off, I'm gonna create user routes. So you can see we create sign up, login, log out, get authenticate users, update users, delete users. This is the controller, right? So I have to create all the routes. So a front end can't uh, talk with these things, right? So I already set up, okay, and now here I import fast express. It's a library. Malter, it's also a library. This Malter help us to handling the upload files, including like video, audio, image, like that. And then it's a storage. It's a Malter storage config file. So yeah, with this you can handle all the Malta functional handling. And then I'm importing all the controllers route in this file. Okay, so the file name is, let me check again. So we have users and then auth controller, and save it. So after that we also import is login. It's a middleware. Yes, it's login middleware. So with help of this middleware, we cannot we allow users to do certain things. For example, they can like or they can comment if they are login users. Otherwise, we are not gonna allow them to do that, right? So that's why we need this middleware. And then we are assigned a router. So inside Express library we have router. So we call it and then we assign inside router. And this is upload. This is the function we created where we're handling the file size with help of Malter. Okay, so at most 10 MB is allowed. So user can at most upload their image 10 MB, right? So yeah, and this is my first router. It's a post because we are uploading something. So this is sign up, okay, slash sign up, and then upload.single because we are uploading one image. So that is profile image, and this sign up is comes from this controller. So it's not a base URL. It's not a base endpoint. We have to visit this app.js. This is the base for router. This is the base endpoint API slash users, and then slash you can see this router. So don't worry, when we work with front end, all the endpoint, how we manage each other or how we connect each other. So in that time I can decode. Okay, so yeah, this is a sign up endpoint, and then second is login. So because you can see here we are using this upload because when we sign up we provide profile image. But when it comes to login, just we are providing only username or password. So that's it. We need just only these things. And here also is a post because we are uploading, right? And then third endpoint or router is get, which means we want to fetch something from database. So and slash authenticate users, authenticate, and then is login, because if you're not login users, so you cannot see your profile. Okay, so you should have login, right? So that is the things, and this is come from controller, user controller, right? So this is a get method. Then after that we are using post because it's a log out. Yeah, so if you are a login user, so you can log out yourself. And then we are using put method, so because it's a update users, so you can update yourself. So it makes you are a login user. If you are, then you can update yourself. So here also we handle upload fields. Why is that? Because maybe you want to update your profile image, maybe, yeah. So that's why we are using these upload fields, guys. Just look at carefully. We are using here single because only we are passing one parameter, but here we are using fields because we are passing two parameter. One is name and second is max count, right? Yeah. So this is a multer method. And then another route is delete. So we are using delete, and I want to emphasize that the let me zoom in. The way here we are managing, you have to extracting this way. So we are using um, ID, right? Clone ID / clone ID, and similarly here clone ID. So which means if you use clone, so it calls dynamics, right? So we can access dynamically. That is the things we are using this way. So and then after doing all the things, we have to export as a default routers, so that so we can import this router inside this app dot js file. So we import here routes user route, right? User router, and then here this is the base URL API users / whatever I put on it, this router, and then yeah, this is router. So yeah, so I hope you understand how what routers work and how we link with controller. And now it's time to work with audio router. So you can see this all the controller, upload audio and get audio by ID. So we have multiple controller, and now we are set up. So I already set up, okay, and same things we upload, we import express, then multer, then storage, then is login middlewares. Now check again, because if you mistake a file name, it's gonna crash. Also have to change these things, controller, audio, and then yeah, here you go. Similar things we assign express router, then we call router method, and then inside router similar things up to 500 MB. So this is the things I'm handling um, upload audios file. So like at most 500 MB you can upload. You can increase as much as you want. All right, and then first is post. So yeah, we are using router post, which means we are uploading audio. So upload audio. So we are using fields, as I told you uh, previously, is that when you use multiple parameter, you have to use fields. But if you use a single parameter, you have to use single method, right? So we are using is login middleware, which means nobody can upload if they are not a login user. So only login user can upload audios on my platform. So yeah, and this is upload this method, and it's a function, and then field, and then we are passing thumbnail image max count one, at least one you can upload, then coverage image and audio file. Okay, and then and after uploading video, we want to fetch that video inside in our platform. So that's why we are using get. So as I told you previously, get means fetching something, and here we are not uh, setting up any endpoint, uh, because if you see here, we have only base endpoint like API slash API slash audios. It's enough. So when you call it only API slash audios, you can get these things, right? So get all audio. So why I'm not actually typically people are using this way. So even though I'm not using middleware, right? Which means on our platform, if you visit first time, if you don't have if you're not a login users, so you can watch my audio, but you cannot do like, or save or comment. Okay, you guys watch a lot of website, I think, yeah, so where they allow you to watch their video, but when it comes to like or save video, or add on playlist, or maybe comment, or maybe subscribe, you can't do it, right? Because of this way they handle their platform. So yeah, so you can see my audios. And after that also I'm fetching get, which means slash uh, clone. So when we use clone, which means it's a dynamic, so we are using audio ID, and get audio ID by ID, which means I'm with this endpoint, I'm only caring about a particular video, a particular audio. For example, on frontend, if I watch a lot of video, let's say I see all the videos. So maybe I like one video, so I can click one particular video, so I can redirect that particular video page or audio player page. Okay, so dynamically I can handle it. I can directly go through, right? So that's why. And yeah, and I want to say something before explaining other routes. So you can see here, audio ID. The way I'm just assign here, or yeah, putting here. I want to show you something. Audio controller, get audio by ID. If you look at now, you can see audio ID, right? So you name it, and here you are, like here we are restructuring it. That's why if you don't restructuring, that means audio, and then you have to dot audios. But the benefit of restructuring is that you can only use one times inside the curly bracket, right? But I'm just emphasizing is that, like, what I'm saying is very basic things. This name, you have to put here what you ID, right? If you only put mm, let me show you other things. You can see here I'm putting ID, okay, just only ID. So if I show you the what controller, like it's a post, it's a update users. Show you, see again, see just clone ID, uh, update users. You can see ID. So the things is I'm talking about whatever name you put here, you have to put, you have to you have to extract, you have to like extracting in that way. Let's see, if you put different name and here different name, so it's not gonna work. So make sure you have similar name. So that the things I want to emphasize. And then after that, this is a I use put. I use put method. So this is the clone audio ID and then slash like, and then is login middleware, and then toggle like audio. Okay. So put means you can update multiple fields or maybe one field, right? So it's not gonna it it's not gonna overwrite, right? But if you use post, so it's gonna overwrite entire things. So that's the things we're using put. Similarly, audio ID for bookmark, and then viewed, and then comment, right? Similar things. There's nothing special because the same raw, same audio ID and same things. And why is that? Now you have a question, why just because dynamically you don't know which audio you want to like, or which audio you want to save, or which audio you want to comment. So you don't know. So after seeing and after watching, or after listening, let's say all the video displayed on your home page. So let's say you like one video or one audio, so particular that video or audio, you can click on it. So yeah, so it's work like a dynamically, right? So yeah, that's why we have to set up this way. And then we have to export as a default router. So yeah, this is all about what route. And now if you look at here, you can see API, we import it, audio router, and yeah, routes slash audio dot route, and then API audio router, right? And now we have another controller route called searches, but now I'm not going to explain it because first of all we have to link with frontend, and then we are explaining if it needs, because maybe we can add more things, right? And yeah, so one of my first video I explain all the things. So yeah, and so I think I covered and I set up all my backend endpoints and backend backend code. So it's time to run our code. Okay, so I already run, but I want to run again. So we are running our server at the backend server. We are running here 5004. This is our server port. Okay, so you can see the result. Server is running on port 5004, and also it's successfully connected to MongoDB, right? And here we are, and our frontend server is running localhost 5170. This is a frontend port, and this is a backend port 5004. And we are using cores. You have to use. If you don't use cores, I think they are not talking each other. So that's why Quartz is useful for us to connect both server. And now we are going to work with the client side. So let's go to the client side. So we collapse backend and now we open up client, right? And I think, yeah, and first of all we have to, so I already create all the project. Okay, now it's time to just explain line by line and how this technology, link each other. And yeah, so I want to say, as you can see the thumbnail, we are using Tailwind CSS and also Redux Toolkit to manage our state. Okay, and for Tailwind, because Tailwind is so fast and easy, so you can create a beautiful layout. Most of the top company, they are using Tailwind CSS, not only for website but also mobile. If you right now, if you look at ChatGPT or OpenAI, so ChatGPT platform, the front end platform built with Tailwind. You can check out if you go to Tailwind website, so they also showcase. Okay, now so we create bunch of folders, right? And so if you don't know how to create uh, front end, okay, so I can yeah, so I just want to just I want to show you. Let me this is my platform, Tailwind. So this is a Tailwind website, and you have to click on docs. You can see docs. So when you click docs, so you can see all the command. Okay, so if you are using Vite, so yeah, you have to first you have to create the React.js projects, npm create Vite @latest. Then you have to put your project names. After that, you have to yeah, and then you have to go to your project with cd my project, and then you have to run this command npm install tailwind, and then you have to assign import in vite.config.js file, and then you have to put this import tailwind css, right? So I think guys but I'm just explaining again, because we are working with project, because it's not a tutorial. So yeah, and after creating all the things, you are good to go, right? So that's the things I already set up. And yeah, and you have to import some let me show you my package. And I am import, you have to install redux.js toolkit. Okay, so even you can select this and you can paste on terminal. Okay, and also you have to use axios, framer motion, and react icons, react loading skeleton, because we are going to use it, and then react redux, and react router dom, and react toastify. And yeah, so you have to use this dependency, right? So after doing that, you are good to go. And then you have to set up your project. So app is your main yeah, main.js, your main file. So if you run your project, so first file run this, but no, this index.html, and then main. Okay, and then app.js. So your index.js, it's a main CS file. So yeah, you have to import this CSS, right? So I think you understand it. Okay, now I'm just explaining again my file structure. First, inside source folder, I create component folder. Okay, inside component folder, I have three file. Don't worry, I will explain to you. And then features. So inside these features, we have four folder: audio, explore, profile, search. Okay, so in this features folder, we are handling all the features, the features we are creating on this project. Okay, and this page, just we are importing all the component and features inside this page. So we have 5 page, like explore and home, library, profile, register. Okay, I will explain to you. And then we have store. uh, Storage for managing Redux Toolkit or state management. Okay, so this is a global store, and inside this store folder we have two folder and one file. So this is my main file to handle all the reducers, right? I'll explain to you. And this is API, all the API points. So inside this API folder we have audio API, user API, and similarly we have slices. Inside slices folder we have audio slice and user slice, right? And then we are wrap up main.js with provider. So I think if you already use any project like Redux Toolkit, so now you can understand provider wrap entire project to handle the Redux. So that's why we are wrap up provider. And this store comes from store.js, and it's a app. I think yeah, it's and this provider comes from React Redux, right? So I think you will get it. I hope you get it. And now it's time to work. First, I'm gonna set up all the API. So let's first work with API. So first we are going to work with user API, and yeah, so this is the user API file. And I'm separating both, like API and slices. So if you want to, like, you can handle both in one file, right? So it's up to you. But in real project, you can see when you work real project, all the developers separate their project a small part, because they know my project gonna be huge. So in future it will be very easy to manage, to handle. The more small your component or your logic or your code is, the more manageable it would be, right? So that's why the developer try to separate their logic or their code. And we are using React, so that is all about React.js. So React philosophy is make your code a small component. Okay, so I'm just import Axios because we are using Axios. So this is a third-party library. It's very easy. Lot of things Axios handle. Okay, and this is the base URL. We name base URL, and we are assigned this entire localhost endpoint. So this is the 500. So you watch and you see it's a backend port. Okay, and this is the API. This is a base endpoint, API.users, API/users, right? So I just show you again. This is the API users. This is the base endpoint, right? Yeah, and then we have to use with credentials, which means when you send any image or any data, so if you don't use with credentials true, your browser cannot understand it. So they show you error. So that's why we have to use with credentials true, and we name API, and then we are using Axios, and this is the create method inside Axios, and yeah, we are using here base URL. This is the base URL, and yeah, and then with a true. So we set up, and now we don't need to set up again and again. So we can use these two names, base URL and API. We are good to go, right? And then first my endpoint, my first API is sign up users. So whatever you can name these sign up users, okay, it doesn't matter, but you have to make sure you can call it with this name. So from data, this data comes from your your input field, which is we'll talk about when we create our sign up page, right? So we are passing as a parameter to the slice, to the thunk. So inside slice we are going to use thunk, right? And yeah, so sign up user function, and then we are use post, because you can see user route, you are using post, right? And this is a tricky part, because post and put work like similar, but post can overwrite your entire data, but put cannot. So whatever field you want to change or update, you can, but if you use post, they overwrite entire your field. And so whatever you use in this sign up, you have to use here, otherwise they cannot understand. Maybe you use here put, and backend side you use post, so it's gonna show error. Okay, so you make sure, and slice sign up, right? And then from data, we are passing two things inside this post method. So yeah, and this is the object, so we are passing headers. Okay, so actually Axios handle other things. If you don't use Axios, so you have to use other things, right? And then content type, multiple part from data. Why we are using here? Because we are uploading image. Okay, so that's why. If you are using audio file or video file, you have to use this multi-part from data, okay, as a headers. So this is a sign up, and this sign up come from backend. You can see here I'm showing it. I show you again this sign up and this post, both are same, right? Yeah, so backend, so frontend can understand what's going on in backend, right? So yeah, and this form data I passing here to the frontend, to the backend, right? Yeah, and this is sign up users, right? So now I'm gonna explain to you sign up thunk, because otherwise you cannot get it. Okay, so this is my sign up users, and now where is the user slice? Okay, so this is the slice page. Okay, first we are importing create slice. This is the method from Redux Toolkit, and create async thunk, because we are going to use extra reducers. That's why create async thunk. Okay, and we are import API. So you can notice here we are using asterisk. So when you use asterisk, which means whatever API, whatever things inside this folder, just import it. So that's the things it makes you. And yeah, first is we are export because we are going to use these sign up users in another file. Okay, and this is the thunk, and we are named sign up users. You have to, yeah, you have to put same name. No, if you don't like to put same name, it's okay, but it's very, yeah, if you put same name, so yeah, it makes sense. And then yeah, sign up users, and we are assign create thunk, async thunk. Okay, and we are passing this name, for just debugging purpose. If you use Redux Toolkits website or software, so you can understand what's going on. So for that, this name is useful. And then we are using async. So async means it's a asynchronous function. So if you use it, that means it takes time. So you have to use await, right? And then form data. This form data comes from the front end, the sign up login or sign up page, and I already passed from API. Okay, the here this form data, yeah, and reject with value. So it's gonna handle error. And yeah, so we are passing two parameter. First parameter is a data, or it's a payload from that sign up page, and this is the, so you can pass multiple data, but here we are passing one data. And then we are using a try block, which means whatever it is, we can catch the result, or if you get any error, we can catch inside the error block. Okay, got it? Yeah. So we are name, so this is await and API, this is API, this API, right? And this sign up users. So we are calling these sign up users, uh, this sign up users we are calling, right? And yeah, and this form data, we are passing this form data. So yeah, so we are calling this sign up users, and which means we are calling the backend. We are calling that endpoint, this endpoint. We are calling this endpoint, right? So that is the things, and we are sending this form data. So this form data, when we request to the backend, and backend can process all the data based on our backend logic. If the logic is right, or if the my backend logic is successfully processed, and then I can get a response. So I put a request, and then backend handle it, and then the request is successfully, yeah, the request is successful, yeah, all the process is done, and then I can get a response. Okay, so that's why I name it a res. You can call it response, okay, whatever it is, but somebody put it response res, so I like to put res, maybe response. Okay, then I return rest. So inside rest we have data. This is a built-in method. Okay, so we can get a data payload, whatever response we are getting from backend, we can see here. So all the data you can see inside data. So this is the built-in method inside response. Okay, and these users we are setting up, like we already set up inside our auth controller. Let me show you what I try to mean you. Sign up controller. I think you can understand, man. Yes, guys, look at it. This is a user. So if you don't put, okay, so this is the users we are talking about here. If you don't put these users, which means this entire sorry, this entire response you can get. You can get success true, message, and user, all the things you can get, because we are sending a response and this is a JSON object. Okay, so this entire object you can get here if you don't put these users. That's why we are putting users, because we already know we are managing these users. And yeah, and also here we are structuring our data. So inside user, even inside users, we only care about ID, username, email, profile image, nothing else, right? Yeah, I think you get it, right? And then catch block, we are returning also reject with value. As I told you, we are using this in order to handle the error. So this is the response. It's a built-in. Okay, error dot response dot data, and yeah, then message. Whatever message we are getting from backend, we are showing up. Or if you're not getting any message, so we can show up this message, sign up failed, right? So this is sign up create async thunk. So I hope you can understand how Redux Toolkit work, how you set up data, how you put any data into the sign up page, and how sign up page pass all the data into thunk, and how thunk process, and then how thunk send to the backend, and how backend process, and then they send back to the front end, and how front end access it, and then how front end assign to the next thing. So now we are returned these things, so we can handle all the state. That is all about Redux Toolkit, right? So now we have to initialize our state, our global state, right? So it's all about create slice. So we are using here, like create async thunk to like, yeah, and now we have to create slice where we can handle our state, right? So we are going to use extra reducers because we are using thunk. So when you use thunk, you have to use Redux extra reducers, right? But if you're not using thunk, you can use only reducers. So I have to initialize our state, or our global state. So we are using create slice, and now we are create entire object, right? So yeah, first object, yeah. So we name it user slice, and then we name what users. It doesn't matter for debugging purpose. And then we put uh, initial state. So initial state, we have an object. So we put current users null, because at first we don't know who the user is. So you put it as a null. Token null. Loading false. Fetch user loading false. Update user loading false. So you can notice, guys, I'm using double loading, fetch user loading. There is a use case, okay? I'm going to explain to you when it comes to show, okay? Because now if you use loading, it's okay. One loading it's enough. But on my project I use in a different part. So when you call it, okay, and then it's gonna show a different problem, right? So I will explain to you. Don't worry. So we initialize this yeah, state, right? And then it's a reducer. So inside reducer we have two things: clear error and reset. So yeah, clear errors we pass state, and then we handle error. So yeah, when you call this error, it's gonna clear all the error inside state, and then also reset, which means loading and error, same things. And then we are using extra reducer. This is extra reducer, and this way we have to structure it. So it's a builder. It's a we are passing parameter. Okay, you can see builder. It's a accent reducer map builder. You can see, right? And then we are passing this entire object. So it's a builder, and now it's a method, add case method, and accent user map builder, right? Yeah, so dot add case. So sign up users dot pending. There are three cases: first pending, second fulfill, third reject. So when you sign up, that means you are pending, and then when your data is submit, that means it's fulfilled. And during submission or submitting, if you're not data submitted, that means you got rejected. So in this block of code, yeah, that should be handled. And if you if you are if your data or request is submit successfully, so this block of code can handle. And at the initial time, when you put data, so it's going to handle, so it's a pending time. So yeah, so when you put some data, which means it's a pending stage, so where I where I true loading, okay, instead dot loading true. So this loading comes from this loading, right? So yeah, we assign true and error null, because at first time we are not getting any error, so we assign as a null. Now after that, sign up users, and these names come from this name. Make sure this name, right? I'm just explaining you line by line, because as a beginner users, you cannot handle it, you cannot understand, because I was facing this issue. That's why I'm just uh, I'm just trying to decode each line, how each line connect on, and that line, yeah, is coming from where. So this fulfilled, and then state action. So actions, we are passing two parameter, state action, right? And then the entire payload. So you can notice we are using payload. Why is that? If you use action.payload.users, it's not going to work. Why is that? Because already here we are using users, response data users. That's why we are using payload. If you are not using user here, okay, so you have to use here, like action payload.users, right? So already we are assigned, we are extracting the particular data from data, okay. So that's why just we are only using payload, and then we are assigned entire things state.current users, and then we make it loading false. I think you got it. And for reject case, state.loading.false and state.error.action payload, right? So this is my slice. So we are handling all the edge cases for, like pending, fulfill, rejected, right? And yeah, I think now we are good to go to explain other uh, thing. Okay, so we already understand sign up users, so I spent a lot time to explain to you. And because if you understand one segment or one controller, so you can relate, you can understand by yourself other things very easily, right? And let's back to the user API file. So we already explained to you sign up users, similarly login, but there is a different things. Here we are using multiple form data because we are sending image, but for login we are not using multiple form data, just we are only using application slash JSON. Because why is that? Just we are sending only text. So if you are using only text, you don't need to pass in multiple form data, right? When you use that multiple form data, when you are handling audio file, video file, image, so you need to that, so you need to have you need to pass in, right? Yeah, so similar things. I think you can understand now login users, all the things similar to sign up users. and here I'm handling also login thing. Similar things, we are getting data from that data, and that data comes from login page, right? And then we are passing this, and this it's a login endpoint from backend, and where you use post. If I show you, you can see login post, right? Login post, and data comes from, as I told you, login page and header content type, right? And slice. This data comes from that API, like user API, right? And yeah, same things, and we are calling login users, and this login users comes from this page user API, and we are passing data, and this data is this data, and this data comes from this user API, right? And when you call, so whatever data user put on input file, we are accessing here, okay, and then we are process. So we are sending to front end because we are calling this API, this at this endpoint, and then we are sending a request to the backend, and the backend process it. If the logic is match with that or compile, yeah, it's match with that, and then process correctly, and we get a successful message. So the result we can, yeah, and then backend send us a response, and where you can get the response. So here I destructuring all my response, right? So we're using arrays. This is arrays. This is arrays, and then dot data and dot users. So this data is a built-in, as I told you, and these users we are handling here. Let me show you again. What controller? All right. These users, right? So an event inside users we have ID, users, email. We only care about these three field, nothing else. If you're not using users here, so we can get entire object, this response in this data. So we don't want all the message, so we only care about these users. That's why. And then token, so response data dot token. So we are, yeah, because we are sending also this token, yeah, because we are handling cookies, so we are sending response in cookie. So yeah, so yeah, and similar things, I think now you can understand. Yeah, so this is the loading, all the things you understand. This is the token null, and now login pending, loading true fast, then null, and here you can see two things. First, action payload dot users, right? So now your question, but I just so here I just know destructuring you, uh, destructuring these things. That's why if you're not using this, so I don't need to use user again. But yeah, so yeah, because there is a difference, man. I think you are confused because here response data dot users, and then I'm just only use action payload because here I'm not using destructuring, but here I'm using destructuring. So we have two things, users and token. So if you are using only action payload, so we can get both user and token, right? So yeah, that is the things. Yeah, action payload users, and similar things, action payload token, and we are assigned in current users, token loading false. And yeah, this is the current users, and current user has a null, right? So I think you get it. So already we explained login and sign up page, right? And yeah, so I think for now you understand, and I'm going to explain to you all the controller routes. So for today's video, I think it's enough. So it's time to stop the video. So for watching, thank you so much. Um, let's see in next video.